The Apartment Gurus podcast is brought to you by Greenlight Equity Group, an apartment acquisitions and holdings firm co-founded by Carl York and Tate Siemer, host of this show. We offer you the opportunity to be an owner of cash-flowing, wealth-growing apartments without the headaches of being a landlord. These assets are recession-resistant, risk-mitigated, offer significant tax advantages, and are a great alternative to the stock market. Ready to check it out? Go to www.investwithgreenlight.com today to book a personal consultation with Carl or Tate. Again, that's investwithgreenlight.com. We look forward to meeting you. Welcome to The Apartment Gurus, where twice a week, host Tate Siemer brings you deep dive interviews with the wisest gurus in the apartment investing industry. These experts are sure to create game-changing value and inspiration designed to catapult your business to the next level. Be sure to reach out to Tate at www.investwithgreenlight.com for access to his investor portal and Calendly link. And now, here is Tate Siemer and the Apartment Gurus.
Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of the Apartment Gurus podcast. And we are, I guess, officially into fall here as we record this, and this will likely air kind of end of September, so not too far from we're recording on September 7th here. And I'm coming to you from Salt Lake City. A little bit of news: we at Greenlight just got done closing two deals. I think I mentioned the Lawton, Oklahoma deal on one of our previous shows, but that's a 52 unit value add, heavy value add in Lawton, Oklahoma that we just launched the construction on. And then we closed on our 86 unit luxury loft conversion in downtown Columbus, Ohio last week. Probably hands down the coolest building that we've ever bought. It's just gorgeous, really stunning old steel factory that we converted, or that was converted to lofts, and we were buying it from the people that converted it. So and we have ongoing stuff like deals that are happening right now. We have 3 active deals, and you guys can be involved in these deals. There's different ways that you can be involved, and I won't go into those right now, but you should at the very least, if you want to look at potentially partnering with Greenlight and myself, you should get in touch. So I'll just leave it there. We're super excited about today's guest. I think, we have a lot of people on that have maybe are doing their first deal, have done a few deals, and we get a lot of people on the show that have done many deals and, have assets under management in the hundreds of millions. And then, occasionally we get a really high flyer, and that's what we got today. So I'm really excited. And let me pull my notes up. Sridhar Sannidhi is my guest today. And Sridhar has been in the multifamily space for just 5 years, but check out what he's been able to do. First of all, he's an accredited investor. He's a deal syndicator, and he's also a passive investor in both commercial and residential real estate. And he's looking for value add and stable properties in commercial real estate. He has co-sponsored, meaning he is on the general partnership ownership group of 3,700 units in 15 complexes in Texas and Tennessee. That's over $400 million in assets under management. And then 3 of those went full cycle in less than 4 years. And those just happened. Those full cycle deals just happened. He's also a passive investor in over 11,600 multifamily unit syndications, which is over $1.6 billion in value in that part of his portfolio. He's also developing over 600 multifamily units right now. And I mean, I could go on, but that pretty much tells the story Sridhar, of just you having a very, very high level of success in, a pretty dang short period of time. So first thing I want to say to you, other than welcome to the show, is congratulations, man. You just crushed it.
Thank you, Tate.
Yeah. Super exciting. So we need to know like the story behind all this. And, I know that you've got a background that's a business background, corporate background that's outside of real estate, and you've been in the IT industry for 30 years. Are you still? Do you still work in IT?
No, now I'm full time into commercial real estate.
Nice. Okay. So talk to us a little bit about your story, and if you want to talk about kind of, where you come from generally in life. And then I really want to get into the last, 5-6 years going from your W-2 to full-time real estate investing and being able to just, you put up some tremendous numbers. Tell us all about it, Sridhar.
Sure. Thanks, Tate, for the opportunity. Hello, viewers. I'm Sridhar Sannidhi, originally from India. I came to US in 95 on a H-1B work permit. And I was initially was in California for 1.5 years. After that, I worked in Wall Street for 18 years on all these big banners. Then I relocated to Dallas. And finally, my last job was at Google. So I quit Google job. And then now I'm a full-time commercial real estate developer and syndicator.
Yeah. So how does that happen? You're working for Google that's a big deal.
It's a dream job for many people.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good question. So basically, I have the passion to start some companies like that, like entrepreneurship. I tried to start a few in the IT space, but I couldn't take them to the completion because of various reasons. Partners don't want to stick together for a long period of time. So I had to put them to the shelf. And unfortunately, some of those opportunities are multi-billion-dollar companies now. So
wow. Yeah.
I missed the opportunity.
In IT in your field?
Yeah. In the IT field. Yeah. I missed those opportunities. Now I repent. So that passion is still there. So that's when I thought that if I depend on all these partners, I may see the similar outcomes. So then I felt that I should build a network or some portfolio that keeps giving me some passive income. And then using that time and money, then I would start building my entrepreneurship. In the worst case scenario, I can be a solo entrepreneur with employees in it. That was the original thought I started. So to do that, like anyone else, I started looking into single family investments. Initially, I did some in abroad 20 years back. For past 20 years, I've been doing in abroad. And 5 years back, when I started getting serious with this entrepreneurship idea, initially I looked into building the single family portfolio. I tried for a year and a half. I could not buy a single family. With
tough
all
game,
fairness.
Man. It's a tough, single family is a tough game. Yep.
Yeah, too much competition wherever I went. Too much competition wherever I went. There were like 10 to 20 offers that were paying above me. So I was like, am I doing something seriously wrong? Why my offers were not even considered in best and final? That was the question after 1.5 years. Then I felt it's not the way to go. I should go for bigger and bolder. So that's what triggered me to get into commercial space. Initially, I was looking in hotels, motels, and like many other short-term rentals. In that process, I attended so many real estate meetups, podcasts, and all that. I bumped into one of the multifamily syndication meetup at Quest Trust Company. It's a self-directed IRA company. So it really motivated me. So I thought this one looks to be very promising. Let me try to invest passively in 1 or 2 deals. And if money is not lost, then I will continue. That was the first thought. Yeah. So I invested in 2 passive deals. I started getting the checks. after 3 months, then I felt, oh, this is something that we can look into seriously. And immediately I started working on it. I met a few friends and we started collaborating and syndicated together. Our first deal is a 96 unit, 3 friends together. We started that. And then once it became easy, and like I started challenging myself, let me do another deal like that. I went from there.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. So I want to rewind to when you caught the inspiration to get into single family. So the first real inspiration to get into real estate investing. Did you have somebody else in your life that was doing that? Did you have a mentor? Did you read a book? Did you listen to a podcast? I mean, there had to have been, or did you just kind of know that you wanted to do real estate?
So for the single family ones, I was searching online. I was searching online to see various sources, and I found few sources online, and I was following up those instructions. I didn't have any mentor in the single family one.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So you tried on the single family thing, and I know that feeling. We did that for 7 years, and we did it hard and heavy. So you couldn't make it happen, or it wasn't really rolling for you. Yep. Was it just more self-education to get into? I mean, there's a lot of single family investors out there, probably, tens of millions actually in this country alone, or at least millions. Yep. A tiny fraction of those ever even crosses their mind that they could do commercial that they could make this transition from the single family space to, in your case, 96 units, which is, medium to large-ish scale apartment community. Where did that inspiration come from? Where did the courage come from? I mean, the belief in yourself to get it done, like, that's pretty extraordinary, and not everybody has that.
So that's a good question. Basically, the way I looked at it is like, how much money I'm going to lose if something blows up on my face, right? So that was my first measure. Okay, am I willing to lose that much? So I used to trade when I was in New York and working in Wall Street. I used to trade a lot. I lost money, I gained money, like that. So I felt a similar way, like, okay, in the worst case, I may lose some. Since it's a real estate, it's not going to die overnight. It may take a while. So most likely I will have a easy exit in that duration. So I may not lose that much like a Wall Street. Wall Street, you can lose in a single day, depending on the type of instrument you are playing.
Sure.
So that was my first thought that came in, and they said, even if I lose it, it's not going to derail my career completely, because I still have IT job. In fact, I quit my IT job this year only. I stopped IT. Yeah. So I've been doing all this along while I was a full-time W2 job employee. Yeah. So that was my first thing. So I made sure that my risk amount is X. So I made sure that I will take that much. But for these syndications, I need to raise money. So I was not sure whether I would be able to raise. So first step I did is like, we picked a smaller property. We need to raise 1.2 million. But 3 partners, I said 400. Worst case, I should be able to put 400K by taking a home equity line of credit on my house and put everything, if I promise something like that. So that was the thought process. But luckily, when I reached out to friends, I reached out to 20 friends. Out of 20, all 20 said yes. So I was able to raise a major chunk of that 1.2 million.
That says a lot about you, that you went 20 for 20 on your capital raising on your first deal, man. I mean, you obviously have a lot of people in your life that you've established a lot of trust with, and that think highly of you and your character and your judgment. So congratulations. What about in the multifamily space, mentors, books, podcasts, anything, any important influences come up for you
Yeah, definitely. So I joined the mentorship program in Dallas, Brad Samrock mentoring program. That's a local program here. So the reason I picked the local one is if it is local, at least I can go frequently. If it is somewhere else, then typically we may tend to ignore it due to travel and other conflicts, right? So I picked the local one and just to motivate myself when I see the big group meeting together and people start talking about closing the deals and all. That gives me inspiration. Why not? I can do that, right? Why I'm not doing that type of inspiration I would get. So in fact, that really helped to really helped me to speed up the acquisitions and management. Yeah.
Very cool. So take us from your first deal. Well, actually, before we go there, I have to highlight this. To me, you joining that mentorship program with Brad Samrock, who's, a giant in the industry. A lot of people know of him. Well, I'll let you say it. How important was that to you getting off the ground in your multifamily career?
It's very, very important. It's a very good decision, I would say. People always argue that why do you need a mentoring? And there are so many resources online. Why can't you use the resources and go that? Yes, you may be able to do it, but these kind of mentorship programs accelerates your path.
100%.
So 100%. instead of spending 6 months and then navigating through all the issues and learning and then executing, if you are in the mentoring program, all it takes is a few calls with colleagues, collaborators and all that. And you can quickly come to a conclusion whether you want to pursue a deal or not. Type of scenarios.
It's so invaluable. Like it's unspeakable how valuable that is, because you're leveraging all the mistakes that Brad's made or whoever is helping you, right? You're leveraging all their experience, all the successes, all the failures, and you're doing so in a way that accelerates your timeline so significantly. I mean, my guys in my mastermind, and they're all guys right now. So ladies, step it up and let's get you into the multifamily Octane mastermind with me. But, these guys are all go-getters and they're working hard, and their network is their net worth. We're like family to each other. And, the guys are partnering up and making it happen. And they're taking a 2 to 3 year timeline and they're shrinking it down to 6 months at least. And they get to partner with me if they want to. They get to leverage my experience and my track record, and we can help sponsor deals and raise capital. And it's just a great win for everybody. And their membership in that group is 100% game changing. It's just massive. And I have maybe met a few people on the show. I mean, we're up to getting close to episode 220 in 3 years of the show. And 90% of guests have had Brad Samrock or Jake and Gino or Michael Blanc mentorships, or they're in Raise Masters, the capital raising mastermind that I'm in, or they're they're signed up one-on-one with a coach. That's even in my opinion can be wonderful, especially if that coach offers the community as well. And that's really what what I'm striving to do with my group. And so I can't, we wouldn't have gotten to where we were in 18 months. We got to $50 million in assets under management in about 18 months. We wouldn't have been able to make that happen if it wasn't for the coaching mastermind that I was in at that time. Yeah. It's massive, guys. So listeners, let's put it this way. If you have 25 grand or 20 grand or 15 grand or 50 grand, and you came to me and said, I've got this capital and I want to get into investing, what should I invest it in? I would say invest it in yourself and invest it in your network. And that because your network is worth hundreds of millions, if not more. Ultimately, that's where you're going to find your traction. That's how you're going to get deals done. So So any thoughts there, Sridhar, before I can't wait to hear the next progression from that first deal to where you are now.
Sure. I think my advice would be pick the right mentor or group that you can work with, because everybody's requirements are different. So see which group fits best. And then another thing is, don't simply go to the group, but go with some objective and then execute on it. I mean, take action on it.
Yeah.
Right? Once you go there and learn something, and then next thing, if you don't act on it, then it's like waste of money and waste of time.
Right. 100%. Like, and with my guys, it's our core values is we do deals. Well, that's our core value number one is we do deals. Yep. We do good deals, right? Yep. So yeah, that's outstanding. So you've now done 15 of your quote unquote your own deals where you're the GP and sponsor with it. It sounds like with some partners on your GP as well. And you guys got 15 of those done, 3 full cycle, and then all of the passive investing you've done. Let's just look at the active side. So on your active side with a W-2, how do you do 15 properties, $400 million in value with a W-2 in 5 years? Like, what is it? What do you attribute that to? The team, your systems and processes, your personality, your talent? I mean, then don't be humble here. Like, tell us all. Yeah. Tell us everything.
So that's a very good question. First thing is fear. Like, a lot of people fear and then they don't act on it. So overcome the fear. You always have to go out of your comfort zone. So like many mentors say that. Yeah, get out of your comfort zone, start acting on it. And if you're associated with one of these mentoring group or mastermind groups, people do help you. So when you are stuck with some item, like you can reach out to somebody, they would help you to overcome that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's one thing, right? Second thing is compartmentalizing your time. So that is one thing that worked out to me. So when I was in Wall Street, I used to commute to downtown New York City for 2 hours each way.
Yeah.
That's 4 hours.
Yeah.
4 hours plus I used to be in the office for 10 to 11 hours every day.
Wow.
Like you can imagine, like 14, 15 hours was my work day.
Sure.
So once I moved to Dallas, I was able to free up 5 hours, like 2 plus 2 plus 1 hour, like 5 hours at minimum. Mm-hmm. So I invested that 5 hours time in real estate.
That's a lot of time. 5 hours a day. You like you said, you compartmentalize time. Like that's a lot of time you were able to produce for yourself.
Yeah. So that was the biggest plus for me. So when I moved from Wall Street, I had that fear, like, well, what can I do in Dallas? Then once I compartmentalized the time and started exploring the opportunities and started working on it, that 5 hours became really, really helpful, because in 5 hours, I used to underwrite so many deals, do a lot of research, and talk to so many other syndicators and start building up teams to acquire the properties and meet people, whatnot. So that was a lot of time every day.
You're doing it all as a GP often. Well, it depends on how your team's set up. So, which leads me to the question of what do you think your biggest strengths are in this business? Like I call them your superpowers. What do you feel like it comes the most naturally to you?
So I try to relate the other person's personality and then the type of things they face in a day-to-day life. I try to compare myself and see where I can help the other person, basically connect with him at that level and start helping him if I can be of any help to him at personal level. And that slowly start building up that network. So I'm not an extrovert, to be honest with you. I'm very introvert. It takes time for me to connect with somebody and have a very easy conversation. So a lot of people who are in these masterminds and or in the group. They know me, like I don't talk to people like an extrovert. So it takes time. Once they know me, they come to me and they know that I'm being very helpful. And that's how the word spread out. And now a lot of people reach out to me for help.
I love that so much. Listeners, Sridhar just eliminated a huge excuse that a lot of you may be using to not advance your career and go big in this business, which is that you're not an extrovert, you're an introvert. Well, guess what? There's a lot of very, very successful introverts in this space. You're not the first one I've talked to. And Camille Jeffs, my good friend, she's branded herself as like the introverted investor. And like that is good to know about yourself. And at the same time, like there's no excuses, right? Like you knew what you wanted to make happen and you did what it took, and you surrounded yourself with the network and the resources. And in spite of maybe you mentioned fear a couple minutes ago, getting out of your comfort zone, there is nothing in this business that I know of, especially when you're doing your first few deals, that's comfortable. I mean, you're not in your comfort zone if you're expanding into this business, if you're transforming from single family to multifamily, if you're building a commercial portfolio, you're taking big steps. And some people will think big risks, and that's arguable in my opinion, but it can be arguable anyway. But it's huge. So I'm so impressed with what you were able to do in 4 or 5 years with a W-2. Like it just blows me away. It blows me away. Do you do much in the way of raising capital, or is that following your other team?
I still raise capital in every deal of mine. So in every deal, I'm still very much involved wherever I'm a general partner. I mean, now 90% of the deals nowadays, I'm a lead general partner. So I'm not joining someone else just to raise the funds. That I took it out because I'm taking money from investors. So my first priority is to make sure that I have full control on the deal and I should be able to deliver. So unlike many other syndicators, I have a monthly call with all my investors. They can ask any questions, no limitations. Okay. And I show every single deal of mine, whether it's doing good or bad or worse, it doesn't matter. It's open. Yeah. It's open book style. So that's what helped me to grow much faster.
That's tremendous. It's tremendous. Where do you go from here? Are you just kind of stay on course and keep doing what you're doing, or do you have any bigger plans?
So until now, I'm doing mostly syndications for increasing the net worth. Now I'm started focusing on generational wealth. So I'm changing the game plan now. So now this year I'm signing up 2 deals for generational wealth style investing. And the syndications will continue. And now syndication teams, I'm shrinking. Earlier, I had like 4 general partners, 5 general, in some cases, 6, 7 general partners. Going forward, 1 or 2. Because I wanted to make sure that if I'm not around, there is another partner who can answer questions for investors. That's fundamental, right? Yeah. And second set of eyes to make sure that there are not mistakes. Of course, I have built my organization and virtual assistants. They all work on the background. I'm also working on building up the staff here to support this growth. But build up and then deliver it. What is happening is if there are too many general partners, there are some general partners, their priority is to make money, but then general partners will really care about investors. So unless we start working with them, we don't know. So that's what I learned in this 5 years. So I started eliminating some of those general partners. I'm not working with them anymore. Those who simply look for money, right? Yeah. I started eliminating from the list of general partners I'm going to work with in future. Yep.
Yeah. It sounds like, amongst other things, your values, what's important to you, and in terms of partnership, but also in terms of how you treat your residents and your investors, right? Like, for us at Greenlight, those are the two groups of people that we serve. We know if we serve them as well as we can, that things will go well.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Well, this has just been fascinating. I'm so just impressed with what you've been able to do, and with a W-2 and being an introvert and et cetera. You've absolutely killed it. So last question for you. I'll put you on the spot here a little bit. Here you are, $400 million assets under management just in your GP deals, and then over $1 billion in your LP deals. If you could go back 5 years in time and coach that guy at that point in time, knowing what you know now with all the experience that you have, what would you say to that guy?
So one thing I would definitely say is like screening the partners at a much rigorous level. So we have the tendency to believe in other people, right? A human being typically gives a chance to other person. They think that the other person is telling the truth and all. Right. And once you start working closely, then you will see the true color, right? So that one, I should have done a better job. So I admit that I have done a couple of mistakes, but nothing fatal. It means like nothing really risks the deal or anything like that. It's like they become lazy, they don't show up, then you have to step up. So that's what I do. Wherever I am in, I step up. I don't care whether my role is XYZ, but I don't want the deal to suffer.
Yeah, whatever it takes, right?
At the same time, I give the opportunity for other partners to do their role in the deals. But at any point in time, nothing should suffer from the asset management point of view. Yeah. So that is one thing I learned. So that is the reason I'm reducing the number of general partners in every deal and making sure that I'm going with the quality projects. Another mistake I have done is like, besides the partners, right? When you pick the property, right? Sometimes we take risk. That risk we think we have taken on a calculated risk. But those calculated risks, usually we go for last 10 years, 5-year type of time horizon. But we need to stress on long-term horizon also. The same deal, we need to see if there is a major crisis happens, how it would play. That kind of thing, I never did it. Luckily, no major crisis is there in any of my properties. But I have seen a lot of projects right now under tremendous stress because of that. People have underwritten based on last 10 years, 15 years trend. And now the economy and the trends that are happening, they are in a super cycle, like 50-year, 30-year type of trends, right? Yeah. So those level of stresses, we have not tested in many of the deals. So, those are the things I would say I learned a lot. Definitely, I would teach myself like, okay, you go, but go with the more calculated risk and look for the long term too.
Knowing what you know now, would you have gotten into real estate way sooner? Yeah.
Yes.
It's an obvious question. It's kind of a dumb question, I guess, or not dumb, but it seems obvious, I guess, when you think about it. But you've also had just a tremendous professional adventure, if you want to look at it that way. I mean, you've done some really cool things outside of real estate. Yep. So I'm sure just all of it was worth it. And look at what you're doing now with all your experience, man. That's awesome. Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, if listeners want to reach you and learn more about you, check out your company, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can check out my website. It is simple. growwealth2retire.com. growwealth2retire.com.
Go growwealth2retire.com. Yep. Got it. Well, that'll be in the show notes, listeners. So check that out there. Sridhar, thank you so much for being a guest on the Apartment Gurus. We really enjoyed talking to you and learning all about the incredible stuff you've been able to get done, man. I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's like I started with a $3 million first project. Now I'm handling a $150 million single project. So you can see the progression in 5 years.
Heck yeah, man. That's it.
Now we are building a $500 million fund. I never thought that I would be building a $500 million fund.
$500 million fund, listeners. There you go. I mean, look, this really is a limitless business. And I mean, it's just as easy to do. I'll say this, I would stand behind it. It's just as easy to do, an 80 unit, 100 unit, 150 unit deal as it is to do a duplex or a fourplex. So scale is your friend, and it's why we're all in this space and why we're doing what we're doing. So awesome stuff. Well, Sridhar, thanks again. Really appreciate it. Listeners, thank you. Really appreciate you guys. Leave us a rating and review if you like this episode or like the show in general. It means a lot to us. I don't ask for that very often. I'll mention it today though. As always, we're bringing you 2 of these a week. So trying to get as many people like Sridhar into your ears as possible so that you can pick up the inspiration, the knowledge, the experience, everything you need, the wisdom to go out and do it yourself. So on that, thanks everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode.
This has been the Apartment Gurus with Tate Siemer. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. To contact Tate, go to www.investwithgreenlight.com for access to his investor portal and Calendly link. He loves to hear from you and thanks you for being a valued listener. Just a reminder that you are the guru. See you on the next episode of the Apartment Gurus.